look, the backlash was hilarious. Like, some people loved it. Some people were infuriated by it, saying, apparently someone at Channel 9 said that I broke protocol by doing that. So then I launched the hashtag #ProtoLol because I never knew about that protocol training.
This is Legends with Bevo. Thanks to Anytime Fitness Glenelg, Renelec Electrical Services, Tiger Tennis, and SMS Gas Installations.
Sam Mack, Sunrise weather reporter and now author of Accidental Weatherman. What a pleasure to have you on Legends with Bevo. How are you going over there in Sydney?
Legends with Bevo. It's great to be back, mate. Thank you, my friend. It's been a little while. Things are really good. Obviously, it's a crazy week, with the release of the book. It was great to see you at the Adelaide launch on Wednesday night. You were about 3 hours late, but no, it's good that you got there in the end.
Likewise. As they say, better late than never. So the book, Accidental Weatherman, number 5, Booktopia, is going gangbusters around Australia and around the world as well, as it should be, considering you're one of the most popular weathermen in the world. But before we talk about the book, the idea behind it, though, when did it come about and where can we go out and buy this book?
Yeah, so it's in most bookstores, like all the local ones, in the city, Dimmicks, Angus and Robertson. You can get it in Big W. It's taking over the world. I'm sick of the sight of my own face. But look, the idea, I guess, came about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. The publisher, Hachette, a lady from Hachette contacted me and said that she watched me on Sunrise. She followed my social media and she said a really nice compliment. She said that she thought that I had a gift for connecting with people regardless of whether they're a 5-year-old or a 99-year-old, whether they're a kid at a preschool or they're a retirement village. She said you can connect with anyone from all walks of life. And I thought that was a lovely compliment because I pride myself on meeting people, making them have a positive experience and then sharing their story, sometimes in 2 minutes. How do I encapsulate this person's story in 2 minutes and share it with a national audience? So it's what we do and I love doing it. So she thought that I would have great stories about my travels around Australia because I visited over 800 places in Australia. And I say places because they're not all towns. Some of them are caravan parks. Some of them are beaches, like workplaces, random spots that we find ourselves in. But it's all part of the fun of the job. I normally do over 100 flights a year, constantly at the airport, constantly on long drives. So I was collecting stories, but also personal experiences that I've had, like, the rescuing my cat Coco and turning her into a bit of a quasi-celebrity because she has RBF, resting bitch face. I took her to the Logies. She's been on the cover of a magazine called Puss Week, which you definitely don't want to Google and get incorrect. Look, it's a combination of those stories. I released a song with the Wiggles. I was nominated for the Logie. I took my mum, and that's one of the chapters. There's a story on mental health about losing a friend. That's a passion of mine as well. And, just the wild adventures as a weatherman that I've had for the last 5 years.
So amazing, mate. For those people out there watching or listening, Sam and I go way back. We grew up in the same area and we've got a lot of mutual friends and we got to catch up the other night, which was wonderful. And it's still great to to see you going so well after all these years, Sammy. The book itself, I guess you don't want to give too much away, but for those people that actually want to go out and buy it, give us a bit of a quick summary of what we can look forward to reading about it.
Well, it starts by, I guess the main thing that I wanted to highlight was the absurdity of the role. I mean, I'm called a weatherman, but the reality is I probably talk about the weather for 20 seconds in each cross and 3.5 minutes. The rest of the cross, I'm probably bungee jumping or tap dancing or I could be doing anything, walking on stilts. So it's such a silly role, but it comes under this title of the weatherman. And that's why I called it Accidental Weatherman. And here it is here. That's the cover if you're out looking for it. And that's why it's called, because I never intentionally became a weatherman. I never set out to become a weatherman. It was just something that I stumbled into by accident. And so in the book, you'll learn about how I got the job. You'll learn about the reality of the job. So what time I have to get up in the morning, how many flights I'm doing a year, how relentless the travel is, but the buzz and the excitement of meeting these people and going to these places and showcasing them to the nation. It's a real thrill. And I love live TV because live TV, things go wrong all the time. And they're my favorite moments because it's all about how you react and how you handle it, I embrace it when things go wrong. And I often with my producer, Sean Flynn, the human emoji, who I call him the emoji because he looks like an emoji, a very spherical head with glasses and no hair. I mean, he's an attractive man. I mean, there's someone for everyone out there. But we will often not rehearse things. We won't block things out to see how it's going to run. We'll do it live and just let it happen how it's supposed to happen. Now, sometimes that means that, I fall over or people drop me or, things get knocked over. But that mayhem and that chaotic energy is what we love, because then you have fun with it. You enjoy those moments where things have gone wrong. And I think that makes more interesting TV.
There's so many stories to tell, and obviously your book will highlight that. But just give us a bit of an idea in terms of some of the most embarrassing moments during the time on Sunrise, Sam.
Well, it's hard to know where to start because it's almost a week. You only have to read the Daily Mail articles to know that there's a lot of embarrassing moments on the show. There was something called Bulgegate recently. There was the bulge in a wetsuit, which I won't bore you with. But look, one of the, I guess, kind of embarrassing ones, but I don't get embarrassed. I kind of enjoy it. My favourite TV show is Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David. So I love when things are a bit cringeworthy and a bit awkward. That's why we're still friends, Bevan. No.
Yeah, exactly.
But what happened was we were doing interviews at a doggy daycare, and I heard in my ear, because I can't see Koshi and Nat, I can't see them. I can only hear them in my earpiece. And I heard them laughing, and it wasn't really that funny what we were saying. And then Koshi says, "Turn around." And I turn around, and two dogs are just going for it. They're just absolutely going for it in the background. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. And we try to separate them. I throw to the weather, because when we're doing the weather, we're not on screen. It's just the maps are on screen. I read the weather. We've separated the dogs. We come back on air after the weather read. And then I'm interviewing the guy again. 20 seconds later, the dogs are doing it again in the background. You just couldn't write this stuff. So we separate them again. And I think I said something at the time, we're getting more action in this segment than they had on Farmer Wants a Wife, which is great cross promo. And then just when you thought it couldn't get any more ridiculous, another different dog comes in and does its business in the background of the cross. All of this has happened in 2 minutes. And I'm losing it by this point. I'm like almost crying with laughter. I can't believe that this is happening live on air. I feel so sorry for the doggy daycare people. This is not a good advert for their doggy daycare. And then another dog, a fourth dog, comes in and starts to try and eat the business that's on the ground.
No way.
Honestly, like if you saw this scene in a movie, you would go, nah, it's too far-fetched. But it happened in real life in front of our very eyes, and there's video evidence of it. And I write about it in the book as well.
And I've got to talk about Bulgegate because, Sam, I'm like you. I'm always getting myself into mischief and stuff like that. And back in 2016, I was actually a full body model for a photo shoot for a crash car. And this is a true story. I accidentally put my G-string on the wrong way, and I've walked out with my privates hanging out and stuff like that in front of all these girls. So it's a little bit similar to Bulgegate, but...
How did you manage to put it on the wrong way?
Oh, it's just one of those weird-looking G-strings. It wasn't the same as a normal one. It's just like a white, like flashy-looking, weird-looking thing. And
I like that you say a normal one, like you wear G-strings all the time. We're getting some real insight to Bevo today.
Yeah, the Bulgegate. You got to tell us more about it.
So we were at the opening of a surf park near the airport in Melbourne, in Tullamarine. And, you know, as part of the segment, I was going to have a go at surfing. I'm not much of a surfer, but I thought I'd have a go. And they organised a wetsuit for me to wear, obviously, for the cross. So I squeeze into the wetsuit, and then I rush back out there ready to do the segment. And the plan was I would chat in the first half with one of the surfers, and then in the second half, I'd go out and have a go at trying to surf. So I start chatting with this surfer. We're chatting about, you know, oh, what are your tips, blah, blah, blah. And then I hear the hosts laughing again. And I don't know what they're looking at. I can't see them. I'm just hearing them laughing. And then I sort of cotton on and they go, Sam, you know, that wetsuit's a bit tight. And the angle that I was on meant that, you know, a certain part of my anatomy looked rather prominent, and you know, Australia copped an eyeful. So then there were screenshots, and then the hosts were losing it laughing, and it just turned into a whole series of news articles, and we're referring to it as the bulge that stopped a nation.
That's amazing. You just owned it so well. That's what I love about you, Sam. And it's what
you know, there's worse articles that could be flying around about you, you know, like in terms of, I'll take that one, absolutely. And the other thing that really made me laugh about it was, do you remember Matt Shervington, that famous footage of Matt Shervington with slow-mo of him running with like parts of his bulge were quite prominent on that YouTube video. Anyway, I know Shervo because he works with us at 7. He wrote me a message that day and said, "Hey, mate, if you need any support, if you need anyone to talk about, I'm your man. I'm here for you, bro."
That's so good. And back in, I can't remember what year it was now, but you did a great thing, Sam. You got your privates out for a charity and for the Full Monty, and that was a very brave thing to do. Now, we've spoke about this before. I used to do hens nights back in the day, getting my privates out in front of all these women, but to do it in front of the whole nation is a whole new level, mate. What an amazing experience.
I was doing it for charity, mate. You were doing it for $200 and a pizza.
What an experience, though, because that must have been pretty nerve-wracking for you, though.
Oh, not when you've got what I've got. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. My anaconda don't. No, I was mortified. I was so worried about that lead up. So that's 6 weeks of training and choreography and planning that we did in the lead up and filming to that one night. I've never been so nervous about one night in my life. And the producers actually wanted us to invite friends and family to have, to make sure it was a good crowd. And I lied to my friends. I told them that it was the next night just to make sure that they weren't in the crowd. But you know what? Like it was a great experience because it challenged me. It really put me out of my comfort zone, and it did a really wonderful thing in highlighting men's health and encouraging men to get their prostate checked. And my chat in there was about mental health, which is obviously what I write about in the book as well. There's a chapter dedicated to mental health, and I'm glad it's another thing that I can tick off the bucket list. I got naked on TV and I wasn't arrested.
Amazing stuff, and credit to you and everyone that was involved in that. Like you said, it was such a really good cause, and it's good to see that the ladies are getting involved in that now as well.
Yeah, it is. And with the girls, it's obviously more about getting breast checks, which is so important. Just those reminders are crucial. And I think the team who put that show together do a really, really good job of getting that mix of, silliness and fun, a little bit naughty, but they really get the message in there of like, this is why we're doing it and this is why it's important. And I'm really proud that I did it.
And another really awesome thing that happened to you, Sam, there's just so many stories we could go on all day, but it was the Today Show moment. That was unbelievable. And that again went gangbusters around the world. For those people that don't know about this one, give us a bit of an idea what happened.
Oh, I'm having flashbacks, PTSD. So it was obviously after COVID lockdowns, it was the first flights arriving back into Brisbane when Brisbane Airport was opening again to the rest of the country. So it's a big deal. They've been closed for months, opening to Victoria, and it's a big deal. And we were there to obviously cover that moment. And what the producers kind of said to me is like, we want to capture those moments, like the Qantas commercial where people come out, they hug their loved ones. They're like, oh, I've missed you. It's so good to see you. That's what they were expecting. But it wasn't that at all. Almost every single person I interviewed were like, oh, no, I'm just here for work, mate. Or, no, I'm just going to go just on a road trip for a couple of days here in Queensland. It was no emotion whatsoever. But then because all of the media was there, it was a media throng, it meant that we're all live at the same time when that flight arrived. Channel 9, Ainsley, I believe her name is, the reporter for Channel 9 was there doing her crosses. And she was stealing my guests is what I'm going to say. She was jumping in front of me and stealing the passengers, and we were there first. And I thought, look, it's fine. We're all here for the same reason. So I'm just going to put myself on the Today Show because I could see her cameraman right there. And I didn't really think too much about it, but I ended up grabbing her microphone and saying live, I wake up with Today while I was on Sunrise and Today at the same time. And it blew people's minds because that never happens and it's not supposed to happen. And it's like, it's breaking all the rules. But our segment had been going for about 9 minutes at that point. I was like happy to do anything to make it entertaining. And look, the backlash was hilarious. Like some people loved it. Some people were infuriated by it, saying, apparently someone at Channel 9 said that I broke protocol by doing that. So then I launched the hashtag ProtoLol because I never knew about that protocol training. But look, my whole point, and I talk about it in the book and that chapter about that experience, was it was a happy day. There wasn't any sad news going on. It was a happy day. The borders are opening again. Let's have fun. We've all been through an awful year where it's been so depressing. Let's have fun. Let's muck around. And if I'm on their show and they're on our show, who cares? Like no one dies. It's just a bit of fun. And And I approached that whole thing from a comedic point of view, whereas they were approaching it from a more of a serious journalistic point of view. And that's why it kind of clashed a little bit. But I tried to interview her. I thought it was great. I was like, "How you going? You having a good day?" And then she was, trying to give me a little bit of sass back. So it turned into a little bit of back and forth. But, look, I think we're in the job of entertainment. We are there to entertain people. That's what we get paid to do. That's how we can keep TV relevant, by having live moments that are entertaining. So I'm proud of that moment. And, given the opportunity, I'd probably do the same thing again.
I've watched it back that many times. It's sensational. You keep being you, Sammy. It's like what people love. So now let's take you back to 2016, your very first day on the job at Sunrise. It was a little while ago now, but did it meet your expectations? And I guess give us a bit of an understanding in terms of when you found out you're going to be doing your dream job.
Well, I'd been working on the project on Channel 10 for a few years, and they're a great team. I love working with them, but I was only on maybe 2 or 3 times a week. The Channel 7 opportunity came up and it was full-time. It was 7 or 8 live crosses a day. You're traveling the country. You're on TV 5 days a week, 40 times a week. It's a lot. It's a big commitment. It's a big step up. And I kind of thought, let's give it a crack. I might do it for a year and it's not for me, or I might love it. And thankfully I loved it. So the first day, every day of the first week, they surprised me with a different challenge, and they would let me know. I'd find out on the day what I was doing. So the first day we were in Queensland at the hotel. I was blindfolded at about 4:30 in the morning. I was put in a car. We drove to a place called Logan, which is, suburb in Queensland out of Brisbane. And I'm waiting for the first cross, and then Koshi and Sam say, "Welcome, our new weatherman. It's his first day on the job. Sam, ready to find out what you're doing for your first day on the job? You can take your blindfold off." I take off the blindfold and I see a go-kart track. And I'm like, "Oh, awesome, go-karting." And then Koshi goes, "Turn around." And I turn around and there's an enormous sign with one word on it, bungee. And I'm like, what? So my first day on the job, I had to bungee jump in front of the nation. I'm not an extreme person at all. And it was so scary. And the worst part was I had to wait up there for an hour before we actually did the jump, because they like to build the anticipation. So I'm standing up there for an hour, and I talk about it in the book. I said, I approached it the same way I approached the real Full Monty. Whatever you do, don't look down.
I think I'm with you there, Sam. That would be the only time you'd see me doing it is on worldwide television. Otherwise, I would not be bungeeing or skydiving, that's for sure.
I would not recommend it. It's not fun. But look, another thing to tick off the list, yeah?
Yeah, well played. And this is just awesome news. Recently, we saw that you've got a new love in your life, Rebecca. For again, those people that don't know anything about this, give us a bit of a background story behind Rebecca and how this all happened.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's pretty special. She lives in Victoria, and I was introduced to her just actually on social media, Instagram, via a mutual friend of ours, put us in contact, and we got sort of chatting. And this was during the lockdown of last year, when, of course, Victoria had the world's longest, most extreme lockdown for that 7 or 8 months or whatever it was. And so we hadn't actually met, but we were talking every day. So we really got to know each other. And then I guess around 5 or 6 months passed, and we knew each other so well. We'd had Zoom conversations. We'd had drinks over Zoom. We'd chat every day on Instagram. We'd been on the phone together. We could finally meet each other last year in November. So we met for dinner. And at that point, it was still just as friends, just to kind of, you kind of know someone, but not really until you see them in person. And we had dinner together. It was really nice. And then I was back in Melbourne the week after, and she invited me over to her place. And she loves Harry Potter, and I haven't seen all the Harry Potter movies. So we sat down, had wine. She made a nice meal. We watched Harry Potter, and she couldn't resist me. And we've been on ever since. And she's so special, and I'm very happy. And she's been a big part of this book project. She's been so supportive, and I can't wait to get more time with her now that we're spending more time together. And I'm over there for weekends, she's over here, and we're working on it.
So wonderful, mate. You absolutely deserve it. Really happy for you. I'm sure the nation is as well.
I hope so. Thank you, mate.
And before I let you go, in the background, you've got your guitar there. You are one extremely talented musician, Sam. You've done some songs with Hans. You've done stuff with Chris Brown. The list goes on. Your talent, though, with music, have you ever had, lessons, or where's it all come from?
My dad, Sam Senior, is very musical. He played in a number of bands. He always has a guitar around the house or at a party. He's the guy that suddenly will just appear with a guitar out of nowhere, and everyone will be like, "Here we go, live concert, whether you like it or not." So music's been in the family. You know, my middle name is John after John Lennon from the Beatles. My dad, the enormous Beatles fan. So there's always been music around our house. So keyboards, piano, like guitar. So yeah, it's actually one of my favorite things to do. Often on a Friday, I'll finish my work for the week and I'll grab a beer and sit down and butcher a few songs on the guitar, and it's my way. It's almost my meditation, just to chill out and switch off from work.
So good. Keep up the great work. And it was really nice to meet Sam Senior and Loretta the other night as well, Sam.
They love meeting you too, mate. I'm really glad you could drop in.
No, it was a lot of fun. And no, you're a very busy man at the moment. You've got lots of stuff happening today, so I'll let you go. But thank you so much for joining us on Legends with Bevo today. The book is Accidental Weatherman. Can't wait to have a read myself, and keep up the great work.
Oh, my pleasure, Bevo. Should we finish with a song? Should we get out with a song?
Oh, that would be amazing.
All right, well, on one condition, and that's that you have to join in, right?
Oh, gee whiz, okay.
Now, so the song, you'll know the song, but I want you to do the falsetto bits, right? Okay. So, you know, in the jungle, you have to go, hum, hum, away. You know that bit? Yeah. So I'll point you in, right? Okay. Not yet. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. A whim away, 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 a whim away. Oh my God, Bevo, you must be wearing that G-string backwards again.
Oh my goodness. I've got no words.
Well done, mate. I couldn't really hear you, but I'm sure you nailed it.
Podbooth. Sounds so good.